Deputy Seán Kyne.
Minister, this question relates to the ongoing crisis in the Mediterranean concerning persons seeking to enter the EU, her plans to assist in terms of resettling persons and in terms of tackling the persons engaged in the exploitation and trafficking of vulnerable persons. I appreciate there's a large crossover with the Department of Foreign Affairs and EU affairs, but this is an ongoing crisis.
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
Thanks. Thank you, Deputy Kyne. This is obviously a very big issue for Europe, indeed for every country in Europe. We're all very conscious of the huge humanitarian crisis that we're seeing in terms of people who are attempting to cross over from Libya and Syria, and the huge as I say, humanitarian crisis that involves. I had discussions with this with the Secretary-General of the United Nations yesterday, who praised Irish initiatives in relation to resettlement. I've announced very recently that Ireland will take 300 extra refugees this year as a response to the European package of measures which was announced. We have in fact taken more than, looking at it from a strictly quota point of view, it would have been less than 300, but in fact we had already agreed to take 150, so that brings the total this year of refugees that will be resettled by the end of this year into next year to 450. Obviously, we're very conscious of the tragic loss of life in the Mediterranean, including in April the loss of an estimated 800 lives in one incident. By taking the measures which I've just informed the House about, we are responding to what has been requested of us. And we've also dispatched the Irish naval vessel to assist in the humanitarian search and rescue tasks in the Mediterranean. I've attended the various EU meetings of Justice and Home Affairs Ministers' meetings, and there's a very broad range of conclusions that have been arrived at. There's broad priorities which have been laid out, and they focus on a number of initiatives, including strengthening Europe's presence at sea, interrupting and fighting traffickers, because that's an essential part of our response, fighting traffickers in accordance with international law, preventing illegal migration flows. And in discussions yesterday with the Secretary-General, it was very clear that at European level we do need to initiate more legal ways of accessing all of our countries for people in need, whether it's through the use of more legal routes to enter countries, visas being given in particular circumstances, or educational opportunities.
Deputy Kyne.
Response, and I do, as I said, acknowledge that this is a very complex area and it crosses a number of government departments, including your own, Foreign and European Affairs, and indeed Marine, with the response in relation to Etna. Just in relation to the Council of Ministers, will there be ongoing discussions within your own department with your colleagues across Europe in terms of the tackling the criminals who are profiting from this? Will this be a key focus of your partners? And also in relation to, and I know it's a different department, but the development aid focusing on those areas which is particularly needed in those countries, which obviously the economic conditions are resulting in people seeking to risk their lives to get to a better life in Europe.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Your final response.
Clearly, there has to be a very intense focus on dealing with traffickers. That is an issue in relation to this current humanitarian crisis, but of course it's also an ongoing issue in Ireland and elsewhere in relation.
House, please, while the Minister is speaking. Thank you.
In relation to trafficking of women and children, and it's an issue here in Ireland, which is a priority area for the Garda Commissioner and on Garda Síochána to deal with. At European level, there's ongoing discussions about the legal mechanisms and under what legal authority that work will be done. But it's certainly a priority focus. It's very important because people are being abused, no question of it, by traffickers, by unscrupulous traffickers, which has led to the deaths that we have spoken about. But clearly the bigger issue is what's happening in the conflict areas and the need for those countries to be helped in the conflict resolution. I mean, this is a huge international, not just European, but an international challenge.